This is the DJI MIC MINI, a brand new wireless microphone from DJI, and it is small. Today, we'll put it to the test with real-world examples and talk about the pros and the cons, all to find out if it's the right mic for you. All right, so we are going to start this thing off with a car test, and I like to do the car test by clipping the mic onto the seatbelt. We've got the tripod with the seatbelt and a backpack. Hopefully this thing will hold up. I wanted to do this kind of like audio test so that you guys could get a real world example of how this would sound in this situation, because this may be a typical place you would use a mic like this. I would recommend having a friend film it though, instead of doing this crazy tripod setup. We're gonna head downtown right now and go test this microphone in some other different ways, and we may even be meeting up with a creator friend for lunch, so that could be cool. Now, one of the things I also really like about this wireless microphone is that aside from just using the clip, you can also use the magnet, like this. This is a really easy way to get it nice and flush to your shirt, and you can be hands-free. So I figured this would be a decent way to test out this audio here. You know, we're just walking around this little downtown area, and there's just various noises. There's trucks, there's little airplanes flying by, there's some construction noise, all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of what to expect in a little downtown area and how this mic sounds. This will be a little interesting test to do some noise cancellation. So I've got the busy road right here. This is what it sounds like with no noise cancellation on. Let's go ahead and pop that on. All right, now noise cancellation is on, still next to the road with cars. This is what it sounds like with noise cancellation on. I think it's awesome that gear is getting like cheaper and smaller and lighter. We're always pushing the boundaries. But at the end of the day, you know, I think like you've got to get away from needing to acquire the latest and greatest gear before starting. The more important thing is what you are bringing to the table, is your viewpoints, your opinions, your way of thinking. That's what people are going to gravitate towards. And you don't need a new camera or a new mic in order to start getting that message out there, practicing your craft, learning your style of creating. You'll get to figure all of that out and grow into that other stuff over time. Fun fact, this whole little area that I'm at right now is actually one of the first places that Michaela and I came to when we were thinking about moving up here. And it's just a cool little downtown area. I like coming down here. It kind of reminds me of that every time I come. And yeah, it's cool for shooting too. Like we got all this brick and all of this, like, you know, the taller buildings make for like the nicer shade, so I don't always have to be in the harsh sun. And there's just some cool, like kind of older, grungier textures down here. So it's fun to go, you know, do these types of videos here in this place. And especially on a day like today, the weather's fun. So yeah, it's fun to get outside, go create. Now, I will say in all of my testings with these types of microphones, I do find that you will typically still get the best sound quality holding it, you know, a little bit in front of you versus when it's clipped to your chest over here. It is still picking up in the same area, but to me, I find my voice always sounds a little bit clearer when it's out in front. So when I can, I do like to try to hold it or use some sort of a little mic holder. But, you know, ultimately it does still sound good when it is at the chest level. So we've been walking around for a little bit now, and I think we're about to go meet up with a friend for lunch. And right here we've got Edward Creates.
What up? We just had some burgers in a loud restaurant, talked life, family, faith, business, all the things.
I thought you were going to say family, faith, and football. So yeah, this is a little test of these microphones in the restaurant. I've got them in the stereo mode right now, so I can control each of these channels separately. And this is just how they sound in this kind of noisier environment. It's a very typical place that you may want to use one of these, is, you know, somewhere noisier where a typical microphone or just in-camera microphone would not sound as good. There's music playing, there's people talking, there's, you know, all sorts of noises going on, and this is what it sounds like. All right, Edward, thanks for meeting up for lunch and helping me test these little microphones.
Of course, thanks for having me. Thanks for hanging out. Hope the mics sound great.
So now I've switched on over to the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 because one of the cool features of the Mic Minis is that it can actually connect to the Osmo directly without needing to have an additional receiver or anything like that. It's just wirelessly connecting to the Osmo, which is pretty cool. Really thankful to have some awesome friends like Edward was super cool getting to meet up with him and have some lunch. And yeah, it's just cool to have some awesome creatives that are nearby I can meet up with, do life with a little bit, just encourage each other. Just think community is such an important thing. Walking around trying to get to this little parking garage area real quick, because I think it's always a fun spot to film in when it's super harsh midday light. Another way you can connect this is with your phone. If you use the receiver, you can just use the little USB-C adapter or lightning adapter, and you can connect it directly to the phone, and then you can get this nice sounding audio when plugged in to the phone, which is pretty cool. All right, now we're gonna do a range test. So the way that this basically works is as long as I maintain line of sight with the receiver, this transmitter should be rocking pretty good. However, if an obstacle gets in the way, like even say my own body, it might start to cause some interference. And that's what we're trying to test out here today. So right now, I am still facing the camera, but I just passed through a fence. So now there's a fence and a couple of benches in the way, but we're gonna keep going. So now I am facing the camera. I'm very far away. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 tennis courts and multiple fences, multiple benches, some signs. There's some obstacles here and some distance. Is it connected? Now, the reality is you're probably not going to go this far away, but it is fun to, test out the limits and just see if you wanted to for some reason, what would this thing do? Let me know if you guys would play some tennis. I think it's fun. And that's a range test. And this is a test with the wind muff off. We're outside, there's a little bit of a breeze. This is what it sounds like. Now let's try putting the black wind muff on and we'll see how that sounds. Now the black wind muff is on and this is what it sounds like. It should help to mitigate that a little bit, but now we'll try the gray one, which should help even more. And now we have the gray wind muff on, and this should help get rid of that wind noise even more. It's a little bit heavier duty and should help cut out when it's a even windier environment. This is probably what I would leave on most of the time if I'm shooting outside, maybe even inside too. I just think it's probably going to be the better option because it is a little bit more suited for that. It will probably also help cut down on some of the plosives that you may get, your P and T and all those types of sounds. So yeah, hopefully that will give you guys a good idea of what the wind muffs are doing. All right, so I'm here at church right now. This is the raw camera audio, and as you guys can see, it is very loud, very echoey. I can barely hear myself talk. Let's go ahead and switch to the DJI mic. All right, so I am currently at church, and this is a super loud lobby. I'm doing this microphone test so that you guys can see how this sounds in a super noisy environment. Right now, there is no noise canceling on. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. And this is with noise canceling on. Now, the interesting thing about it is there's actually 2 different levels of noise canceling. This is currently the basic level, and this is what it sounds like. But I'm going to switch it now to the advanced level that has more noise cancellation. Let's check that out. And now we have the super noise canceling on. So this is with the super noise canceling. It is super loud. It is super echoey in here. I can barely even hear myself talk right now. So I'm very curious to see what this sounds like. All right, so I am currently at church and this is a super loud lobby. I'm doing this microphone test so that you guys can see how this sounds in a super noisy environment. Right now, there is no noise canceling on. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. All right, we're back in the studio, and right now you're listening to audio coming straight from my computer. No microphones at all. These are just the microphone inputs from my studio display. And I'm going to go ahead and switch it now to the mic minis. Boom, pretty cool. You can actually connect the mic minis to your computer for doing tests like this with live streaming. Now, in order for you guys to hear this example, I wanted something to talk about. So I'm gonna introduce you to the sponsor of today's video, which is me. And this is the Creator Starter Pack. I put this tool together for up-and-coming creators. It's packed with so much good value in there. It's gonna help you find your niche, get clarity about your content. It has a bunch of practical tools like instantly getting 100 video title ideas. thumbnail templates and a thumbnail guide. It includes your own media kit to send to brands as well as brand pitch emails. It has B-roll shot lists, tons of resources. This is something I really believe is a powerful tool for content creators, and you can check it out on my website. And this is basically what it sounds like, right? So the cool thing is you can connect the Mic Mini to your computer. You can use this with streaming softwares, with Zoom calls, with whatever you need. And yeah, this is the raw audio used in that context. All right, so here are some of my favorite pros about this microphone. Definitely my favorite thing about this mic is how small it is, and beyond just the size, it's the weight. And the reason I like this so much is because when you use the magnets to clip it to your shirt, it doesn't pull it as much as others that I have used. And of course, beyond that, it also has a great sound. I like that you can use this in mono or stereo mode, giving you more flexibility. If you are using both of the transmitters with like two different people, you can use stereo mode to be able to EQ the voices differently and adjust the volume or mute and unmute each one individually. It has a great battery life. These things can run for a long time and the case charges them up pretty quick. And now I've tried a bunch of these different types of mics, and personally the thing that I really love that DJI has finally done with this model is allow you to put the wind muffs and the cable inside of the case. Both the DJI Mic 1 and the DJI Mic 2, which are more expensive than this one, you can't do that. So I love that this can be compact and fit everything really nice. It's got noise canceling. You can easily remove the wind muffs. You can place everything in the case really easy. It sounds good. It's small. It's lightweight. It's got a lot going for it. But let's talk about a few of the cons. So for me, the biggest issue that I have with this microphone is there is no internal backup recordings. And this is a really big deal because as somebody who comes with a freelance background, I've used a lot of wireless microphones on various shoots. And in the past, I've had wireless issues fail even on an important client shoot where I got back and the audio was just toast because the reception, it just got interfered. It cut out. It was just static. And because of that, I just can't ever fully trust wireless mics, and I didn't use them for a long time. It wasn't until DJI came out with the original DJI mic that really kind of got me interested in it because it was small, lightweight, it sounded good, and it had the internal recordings. Beyond the safety of it and just having peace of mind, there are some real benefits you get with having internal recordings as well, like just being able to have a quick voiceover or podcast tool. There's also no microphone input, so you can't connect a lav mic, you can't connect this to other audio devices. While it is good, it definitely kind of lacks that versatility. So one of the things I really love about DJI products, whether it's the Osmo or the Mic 1 or Mic 2, I love the menu system. It's so easy to navigate. You have the nice touch screen, everything's simple icons, and it's a really great benefit of the system. And it's actually one of the reasons why I prefer the DJI system over others. You don't get any of that with this system. The receiver doesn't have any menu at all. It's just light indicators and button presses. And you have to learn and sort of memorize what those all mean. And it's just not as easy as having a nice visual display with meters or with icon indicators that you can touch and maneuver and change. And so, you know, I know that this is a cheaper product, but it is a kind of bummer because I love DJI's menu system. It's just one of the best, and you don't really get that with this system. And in practical scenarios, it can be very annoying because it forces you to have to use the app for certain menu settings. Another thing is they don't currently offer a Sony Mi-Shoe adapter with this mic like they do with the Mic 2. And I'm somebody who shoots Sony, I'm somebody who uses the Mic 2, and I love that adapter. It's not just because it gets rid of the cable. That's great, I love that, it's nice and clean. But the real practical reasoning I like it is because it does auto levels with the camera. Why this matters is because I don't have to worry about what my volume is set at, it's just going to take care of it. And this is really handy when you're switching between a bunch of different stuff. If you're using shotgun mics and then you're using raw camera audio and then you're using the DJI mic sometimes, you don't have to worry about, did you change it? Are you gonna get the audio back and it's super blown out? Because again, this is not 32-bit float. There is no internal backup recording. So whatever is getting recorded to the camera is going to be what is there, and that's it. And so, the adapter may seem like a nice little bonus that's kind of unnecessary to some people, but to me, it's actually a really big benefit for my workflow where I am switching between, sometimes shotgun mics, sometimes raw audio, sometimes the DJI mic. So I'd love to see them come out with one for this. I really wish that the existing one would have just worked with this. I don't know why they didn't do that unless they're just trying to get more sales when they do make one. We'll see. I know that's a super nitpicky thing for some people, but for me, it's a nice benefit of the adapter and the mic too. Also, I have noticed that this microphone, when you're holding it, does tend to pick up a little bit more handling noise than some of the other ones I've used. I don't know if you guys can hear, me rustling around like if I'm switching hands, but you do need to kind of handle this a little bit more delicately or place it in a microphone holder. It's not horrible by any means. You can certainly get by doing this. But yeah, I've just noticed it a few more times in my recordings than I have with other microphones like this that I've used. So here's my final thoughts on the DJI MIC MINI. I think this is an awesome microphone. It's a great system, and there's a lot of really good pros to it. One of those is really the price. This thing comes in at around $170 for the entire system. And you can actually choose, if you just want one transmitter, you can get the transmitter and receiver combo for $90. So under $100, you can get great sounding audio. It's just a great value tool. And I think it's going to be a really good option for a lot of creators. Now, here's just some additional thoughts and things to consider. If you are only capturing with your phone, you're not using a camera, you don't plan to use a camera, then I would potentially consider looking into the Rode Wireless Micro. It is also a very small transmitter, but the cool thing about it is the receiver is super small, a lot smaller than the MIC Mini, and it feels like more of a natural extension to the phone. It just works really easy with the phone. Whereas the MIC Mini, the receiver's a little clunky on the phone. It feels a little awkward to hold and to use. Yeah, that's the only thing I would mention if you're primarily just a phone creator. It might be worth looking into the Rode Wireless Micro. But the downside of that system is it cannot be used with a camera. So if you want to have that versatility, the DJI MIC Mini is a great option. Now for me personally, I really do like the DJI MIC Minis, but I'm going to be sticking with the DJI Mic 2 just for those added benefits of the internal backup recording, the microphone input, and being able to use the adapter. All of those things make it more worth it to invest the extra money into that system. So you'll kind of have to weigh out what's important to you. And if you're kind of just starting out, or you're really just not sure if you're going to need any of those features in the Mic 2, I would recommend, if you can afford it, just buying into the MIC Mini, because I think you're going to be super happy with it, and you'll be able to create some really great content with good sounding audio, and you'll start to be able to maximize that until you maybe hit some of the limits. And at that point, you could consider, upgrading to something like the Mic 2 or whatever else they have released at that time. Ultimately, I hope that they'll come out with a Mic 3 that has all the features of the Mic 2 in the form factor of the MIC Mini, which would be pretty cool. But we'll see what they come up with. I think all of these microphones are great. We live in an awesome time. And again, like I said earlier in the video, don't let the lack of gear stop you from making awesome content. There's people out there that need the content you're going to create. They're going to be impacted by what you make. So, don't let a microphone get in the way of you going after that. Use what you have now, use it to the fullest. And when you're ready to, and you have the budget to, and it makes sense, then upgrade, and you can grow into it. Now, if you want to learn more about the DJI Mic 2, I have a comprehensive video that I put together that dives into it. You can check it out right here. Or if you want to check out my creator starter pack and get awesome resources for being a content creator, you can check that out here. Thanks so much for watching. I put links in the description below. As always, stay creative. Peace.